Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be making a roll cap, and this is a 6-panel style dad cap with a rolled edge instead of a brim. It's actually one of the easier caps to make, so if you are new to sewing, you should have no problem following the easy step-by-step tutorial. With all that being said, don't forget to grab the printable pattern and let's get started. Getting started with supplies, you need a 1/4 yard for your main fabric, and I'd recommend using a canvas, denim, or twill. These are all very durable fabrics and they're easy to work with. They're also super great for cap making, and I'm actually going to be upcycling my fabric from a pair of jeans. So if you have an old pair of jeans laying around, you can upcycle that denim to use as your fabric. And if you do go this route, just make sure there's not a lot of spandex in the denim because you don't want it to be stretchy. But like always, get creative, test different fabrics, and make something that's really unique to your style. You'll need 4 eyelets, and these are going to be used on the side of the cap for ventilation. I'll be using a 6mm eyelet. This is the size I typically use on caps, but feel free to switch it up and use whatever size eyelet you would prefer. You'll need 1 back closure, and you can get these in a bunch of different styles. You can get leather and buckle, plastic snaps, or nylon clip. And depending on which one you choose, it's really going to change up the style of the cap. You'll need 1 sweatband, and this is going to be used for the inside of the cap for comfort and fit. I'll be buying mine, but if you don't want to buy yours, you can also make yours. It's very simple, and I'll get more into that later in the project. You'll need 1 cover button, and this is going to be the button on the top of the cap. I'll be using a 3-prong cover button. They're designed for caps, and they're used in manufacturing. I'll be showing you how to install that with the die kit and without the die kit. But if you don't want to add the button on the top, you can actually make this cap without the cover button. You'll need 1 size strip, and this is optional. It goes under the sweatband, and it's used to help with the sizing and also prevent the panels from stretching when you're sewing on the sweatband. Again, it is optional. You don't need it, but it's very helpful. And again, for all these cap components used to make the cap, you can get them all at capsupplyco.com. They offer a wide variety of cap making supplies, and they're all super quality. So if you're looking to scale up your production, you can buy it in bulk or just a few to make a couple caps. But other than that, it's a great place to go to get all your cap making supplies. Lastly, you'll need your pattern. This pattern is available at properfitclothing.com. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is download it, print it off, and cut it out. And real quick, before you cut out your panels, double check the size guide at the top, because if it's not printed to the correct size, caps are very precise and it's either going to turn out too big or too small. So double check that size guide at the top of the page before you start cutting out your fabric. And once you have all your supplies gathered and your pattern printed out, it's time to move into cutting.
And after printing out your pattern, it should look like this. And be sure to double check the guide at the top of the page to make sure you printed it to the correct scale. And from here, we're going to cut on the outside of the black line. And once you cut out all of the panels, you're going to want to end up with 1 roll brim panel cut out of your main fabric. And the thing about this panel is that it's very customizable. You can actually extend the width and the height. Ultimately, this will change up the look of the cap for extra customization, but you can always do this later on after we create the crown. The second thing I want to go over is the interfacing or foam. It is optional for this panel. I will be adding it just to show you how it looks. This is going to give that brim panel a fuller look. I do recommend using it for that professional store finish, and you can pretty much use any foam, batting, or interfacing. You just want to make sure it has a little bit of thickness to it so it fills out that brim panel. You'll need 2 back panels, both cut out of your main fabric, 2 side panels, both cut out of your main fabric, and lastly 2 front panels, both cut out of your main fabric. Moving on to assembly, the first thing we're going to do is grab the roll brim panels, separate the 2 layers, and again, I will be using the interfacing. If you're not using the interfacing, you'll just have 1 layer. And for the interfacing, I'm actually using a batting. It's a little bit thicker, so what I'm going to do is fold it in half and cut it directly down the center. This will reduce the thickness and make it easier to sew in future steps. Now I'm going to flip my main fabric over so the wrong side is facing up. Typically I'd line the interfacing up with the entire panel, but since I cut it in half, I'm going to place it on one side of the panel. From here we can fold it in half with right sides together. Line up all the layers along the bottom edge, place a few pins, and then we're going to stitch just the outside edges at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When it comes to this stitch, you want to be very precise with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, or else it could throw off the length and it's not going to line up with the crown correctly. After double checking the stitch, flip the right sides out, move the interfacing to the inside, and line up all the layers along the bottom edge. To make it easier to install the brim, we're going to add a serge along that bottom edge to secure all the layers together. If you don't have a serger, you can use a zigzag stitch instead. It's not only going to secure the layers together, but it's also going to prevent the fabric from fraying. As you can see, using that batting as an interfacing really gave the brim panel some fullness. This will help pop that brim panel out when it's around the crown and not make it look so flat. And you can definitely play around with the thickness of interfacing. The thicker you go, the more full it's going to look. But anyways, that's going to complete the roll brim panel. so for the moment we can place it off to the side and grab both of the back panels. Separate the two layers and locate the back edge. The back edge is going to be the shortest side that also has the back opening. And what we're going to do is place the right sides together, lining up the back edge, then we're going to stitch just that back edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like with the brim panel, it's very important to sew out exactly a 1/4 inch seam allowance or else it's going to throw off the circumference of the crown. So before moving on, you want to double check that. If you're off a little bit, I recommend dethreading and restitching. For this next step, we're going to be covering up the raw edge on the inside of the cap and also adding top stitching. Now this is optional, but I'm going to show you 2 different methods on how to do this using a domestic machine and also an industrial machine. So I highly recommend giving it a try because it really takes your cap making to the next level. And that's what I'll show you right now. Start by replacing your needle with the twin needle. I'll have this needle linked in the description, and this needle works on all domestic machines. Switch your machine to zigzag stitch, your choice of length, and a 0 width. Thread your machine the same way, but add 2 spools of thread. Be sure to thread through both of the needles and add your binder. It's best to have the bias tape already in so you can line it up with the needles. And I found the easiest way to do this is just tape it down. And once you have it installed, give it a quick run to make sure all the stitches are looking good. Grab your front panels and place that seam directly in the center of the binder and stitch all the way through. And just like that, it's going to add a double top stitch on the front and cover the back seam. But if you want to ramp up production, I recommend getting a double needle sewing machine. This binder is a little bit more advanced than the one I used in the previous step, but they both get the job done. You can also mount both of the binders on any double needle sewing machine. And you use this one the same way. You place the seam directly in the center of the binder and stitch all the way through the seam. It's a lot easier than it looks, and it really doesn't require that many supplies. I'll put a link to the binder I used below so you can give it a try. I also recommend using a very lightweight fabric for your binder tape. If you use something too thick, it'll be very bulky and hard to sew through. It will also create structure on the seams and make the cap very stiff. So it's best to use the lightest weight material you can find. You can also get the binding tape pre-cut so you don't have to cut the strips. But anyways, our back panel assembly is complete, so we can place it off to the side and grab both of the front panels. Start by separating the 2 layers and then placing the right sides together. Using the pattern, locate the sewed front panel edge, and this is the edge we'll be stitching. It will become the frontmost seam of the cap, so with the right sides together, place a few pins and stitch that edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like with the back panel, you want to be very precise with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, or else it could throw off the circumference and make it too big or too small. Once you're satisfied with the stitch, we're going to take it to the binder and seal off the raw edge. Another trick is to match your thread color to your fabric color to hide any imperfections on that top stitch. But that's going to do it for the front panel assembly, so for the moment we can place it off to the side and grab both of the side panels. Separate the 2 layers with right sides facing up, and using the pattern, locate the eyelet placement guide. What I like to do is poke a hole in the pattern, then I lay the pattern over the panel and mark my eyelet placement guides. For this cap, I'm going to be using 6mm eyelets. I found it's a great size for cap making, but feel free to change up the size and go bigger or smaller. The first thing you want to do is create the opening for the eyelet, and you can use scissors or a punch. Place the eyelet through the opening from the right side and add the backing on the back. To secure it down, I'll be using a hammer die. Feel free to switch it up and use a press or pliers. If you are using a hammer die, you're going to place the base on the right side and then hammer it down from the back. And you don't need a ton of force or else you'll bend the eyelet. And then go ahead and repeat this for the rest of the eyelets. And as you can see, I only added the eyelets to the side panels, but if you want, you can add the eyelets to all of the crown panels. But anyways, moving on to the next step, grab the front and back panel assemblies. Using the pattern, locate the sewed front panel edge. And this will be the edge we attach the side panel to the front panel assembly. So locate the front panel edge on the side panel and line it up with the front panel assembly with right sides together. Then we're going to repeat this process with the second side panel, but we're going to locate the back panel edge instead. Remember, the panel will be reflected, so it's going to be on the opposite side. Place the right side together, lining up the back edge on the back panel assembly. Keep in mind, these panels have different curves to contour around the head, so you're going to have to sew it as you go. And what that means is that you sew it and you keep moving that edge as you sew. But anyways, once you're ready, take it to your sewing machine and stitch both edges at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like in the previous steps, you have to be very accurate with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, or else it's going to throw off the circumference. From here, we can open up both of the assemblies, and now we're going to add a top stitch and binding to that new seam. These seams have a little bit more curve to them, so it's harder to add the binding, so it may take a little bit of practice. This is something you'll get better at with each cap you make. Now we're going to take the back panel assembly and place it on top of the front panel assembly with right sides together, lining up that top edge directly in the center. Once you have it perfectly lined up, we're going to stitch that entire top edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Once again, double check, make sure you sewed at exactly a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and if everything is looking good, you can grab a pair of scissors and trim the bias tape ends flush with the seam allowance. You want to reduce as much bulk as possible before you add the next bias tape strip. With the bulk reduced, we can take it to the sewing machine and add our bias tape. and we'll be sewing through that entire seam. And this is another reason why you want to use very light weight on those binding tape strips, because that center gets very bulky and it's hard to sew through. Moving on to the next step, and this next step is optional, we'll be adding a side strip along the bottom edge of the crown. This is used to help install the sweatband and also prevent the bottoms of the panels from stretching. We're going to place it on the inside of the crown, lining it up perfectly with the bottom edge. Once you have it lined up, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch directly in the center of the side strip. And as you can see, this gives a little bit of structure to the bottom edge of the crown. By doing this, it will make the sweatband easier to install. Since we have all the seams sealed off, we're going to trim the bias tape and side strip flush with the edge. The last thing we have to finalize on the crown is sealing off the back opening. And there's a few different ways you can do this. One of the ways is rolling the back edge over, similar to a hem. You'll want to roll it over twice to hide the raw edge. But the second method is a little bit easier. It's just adding double fold bias tape to the edge to seal it off completely. And you can add double fold bias tape with a domestic machine or an industrial machine. If you plan on ramping up your production, I highly recommend looking into a double fold bias tape binder. But if you're only making a couple, you can either make your bias tape or you can even buy pre-made bias tape at the store. The only thing about the pre-made bias tape is that you're limited to color and you might not be able to find something that matches your fabric. But anyways, moving on, grab the complete roll brim panel assembly. For this step, we're going to be attaching the brim to the crown, and the first thing you want to do is mark the center on the brim. Then we're going to spin the crown around to the front seam, and that's going to be the center on the crown. So place the right sides together, lining up the brim with the bottom edge of the crown. And this is where you can decide on the length and width of the brim to customize the look. I designed this brim to have a little bit of space before the back opening. This is going to give you room to install a buckle. But if you want to go flush all the way up to that back edge, then you can add more length to the brim panel. The second dimension to look at is the height. As you can see, it looks fairly tall at the moment, but keep in mind, once we install the sweatband, it's going to reduce about 1/4 inch of that height. So if you want to make it taller, this is the time to do so. And once you have everything lined up, place a few pins, and we're going to stitch along that bottom edge directly on the 1/4 inch seam allowance. We don't want to go past that 1/4 inch seam allowance because we still need room to install the sweatband. After sewing, I like to quickly look around the cap, make sure the brim is perfectly lined up because it can kind of move as you're sewing, so you want to make sure it's perfectly straight with the crown. You can also roll the bottom edge in 1/4 inch just to get an idea of the final look. Because at this point in the project, it's very easy to dethread that brim, remake a new brim, and then sew it back on. I always find if you're making something, you might as well make it to the exact style you want. Also, you can see that the brim is nice and filled and it's sticking out. It's not so flat up against the crown. So I highly recommend using batting, and you can find that at pretty much any hobby store. It's the same stuff used in quilts. Moving on to the next step, we'll be adding the sweatband, and this is a pre-bought sweatband. I'll put a link down below. These are millinery grade and they're super nice to work with. If you do want to make your own, grab some foam. You could use the same batting and roll some fabric over the edges. Place a couple stitches down the center along the edges and you're good to go. You just don't want to make it too thick or else it's going to be hard to sew through all the layers. And for this cap, it's very easy to install the sweatband. All we're going to be doing is sewing it along the bottom edge of the crown. And you don't need any fancy machines or tools. But if you want to get a perfect placement, all you need is some thicker construction paper and you make a little sleeve. You want to make it at least 5 inches long and exactly the same width as your sweatband. So when you feed the sweatband into the sleeve, you want absolutely no movement from side to side. This will keep the sweatband lined up with the needle as you're sewing for a perfect placement. Now that we have our attachment created and our sweatband in the attachment, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and tape it down. You want the bottom of the sweatband facing up and lined up directly with the needle, and secure it down with tape. To sew it on correctly, we're going to separate the brim from the crown and roll the bottom edge inward. So essentially, it's going to be like we're adding a top stitch. Start sewing on the sweatband and then feed your cap into the needle. As you sew, the sweatband will move right along with the stitch and give you a perfect placement. I do have other sweatband machines and I found that this is still the most accurate way to do it. It comes out perfectly lined up, and also the speed of production is very quick. Moving right along, the next thing we're going to do is install the back closure, and you have a few different options. You can use leather and a buckle, a nylon clip, or a plastic snap. You can also create your own strap out of the fabric you're using. For this cap, I'm going to be using the leather and the buckle, but they're all pretty much installed the same way. What we're going to do is roll the sweatband under and inward so it lines up perfectly with the back opening. Then all you have to do is slide your closure in between the sweatband and the crown. And the biggest thing here is that you want your closure to line up with the bottom edge so it's not offset when it clips to the other side. So if you're using the poly snaps or the clip closure, you want to line both sides up before you stitch them down. With the leather strap, you kind of have to envision where you're going to place the buckle to get the correct alignment. Once you're satisfied with the alignment, we're going to stitch both sides down, and I'll be stitching directly on top of the bias tape. It's best to go back and forth a few times to really lock down those closures so they don't rip out over time. Also, matching your thread color to your fabric color will hide the stitch so it's not as visible. Since I installed the leather and buckle, the next step is to install the buckle. For this cap, I don't need the oval eyelet, so I'm only going to be installing the buckle. It's super easy, it's installed with an eyelet, so we're going to install it the same way we installed the eyelets in previous steps. The first thing you want to do is line the buckle up with the leather strap. Once you figured out the correct placement, mark the buckle opening with chalk or a pen. Punch an opening big enough for your eyelet to fit through. Feed the right side of the eyelet from the inside, and we will be going through the sweatband. Next, feed the eyelet through the buckle opening and press it down. You can either use a hammer die, pliers, or a press. For this one, I'll be using a press just to show you the variations. If you're really looking to ramp up production, I recommend looking into an automatic eyelet machine. This will do all the steps in one, saving you a ton of time. Before we feed the leather through the buckle, we want to first tack down the brim. This will prevent the brim from flapping around and lock it down in place. And we're only adding a small tack stitch in the corner of the brim. If you don't like the tack stitch look, you can always swap it out for a rivet or any sort of grommet. Now you can feed the leather through the buckle and try it on. If everything is feeling and fitting good, we're going to move on to the next step. And that's going to be installing the cover button directly in the center of the crown. I'll be using a 3-prong cover button set. These are designed for caps. They're super easy to install using tools or even without tools. And I'll be running you through both techniques, starting with the high production method. Cut a small fabric circle to the size cover button you're using. Place it inside the die and then the top of the cover button inside the opening. Roll the outside edges of the fabric inside the top of the cover button. With that prepared, we're going to place it to the side and grab the center of the cover button. Insert the center into the top of the die, then place the 2 die pieces together. Spin the die set to either side and then hammer it down using gentle force. And what this does is locks those 2 pieces together with the fabric to give you a nice clean edge. The fabric I use is fairly thick, so it's harder to work with, but it still turned out nice. And if you don't have a cover button die set, I'm going to show you how to do it without. Cut a circle out of your fabric to the size button you're using. The fabric around the outside of the cover button. To make this step easier, you can use a cover button tool. These come in most cover button sets. You place the fabric on top and push the cover button into the opening. This will wrap the fabric around the outside evenly. From here, you can grab the centerpiece of the cover button and place it in the opening of the top section. It may take a little bit of force depending on the thickness of your fabric. This is also going to tighten up that fabric and get rid of any wrinkles. Lastly, place the prong through the hat from the inside and hammer the button down. Next, I'm going to show you how to install it onto the cap, and I'm going to show you both methods. So grab the bottom piece of the cover button set, push the prong through the center of the crown from the inside. Be sure not to bend the ends. Once you see the ends poking out, grab the top section of the cover button, line it up with the ends, and then hammer it down. And when you hammer these 2 pieces together, you want to use very light force so you don't bend the top part of the cover button. This will lock all those sections together and prevent the cover button from ripping off of the cap. The second way to install the cover button is using a press with the die set. It's a lot more efficient if you plan on making a lot of caps. All you have to do is feed the prong section in the bottom, the cover button on top, and then press it down in the center of the cap. And again, you don't need a ton of force when you're using the press. I find the trickiest thing about this step is lining the cover button up perfectly in the center. The easiest way to fix this is installing a laser on the press or buying a press that has a laser pre-installed. It's going to give you perfect alignment every single time. And moving into the final step, that's adding your branding. I use leather strips added with double-sided rivets. You can also use woven tags, embroidery, or even screen printing. Now you can get a full look at the cap and start to make your customizations to fit it to your style. Whether that's changing up the brim size, adding more eyelets to the crown, or using a different type of back closure. The possibilities are endless, so have some fun with it, get creative, and make a cap that's really unique to your style.
And there you have it, your new roll cap is complete. Hopefully yours turned out as good as mine did. And I know there's a lot of different ways you can customize it, from the back closure to the style of the roll. I myself like to experiment with the height of the roll. Probably on my next one, I'm gonna make it taller and see how that looks. Like always, I wanna see what you come up with, so tag me on Instagram at Properfit Clothing. And until then, I'm gonna keep the videos coming at you, so I'll see you next time.